Artificial intelligence updates every Friday. Today, Friday, October 17th. And the epigraph for the day is, you see this in red, AI agents can efficiently predict, quick adapt, and expand infinitely. So the value of human labor is not only reduced to zero, but may even become negative. AI will make human cognitive labor negative in value, not just zero value overall. So these two quotes are coming from Emad Mostaque. He also released a book which you can buy on Amazon. And yeah, this is very true. When I'm working with AI, AI can work so much faster. And I am the one who is a bottleneck because I have to provide descriptions to tell AI exactly what to do. So AI is like this genius, very fast, almighty, but it's still on me to explain what needs to be done. And this is like the slowest part. Anyway, start with the leaderboard. And what do we see in coding here? You see Claude, a little bit of Qwen3 Max, which is not open source, and then again China, Longcat, and then we have Claude again China, again Claude, again China, and only then Gemini. So Gemini 2.5 is far behind, actually not that far maybe, uh, but still people expect Gemini to release their version 3 maybe next week. So there are a lot of rumors and a lot of trial versions. I am using this top one, which is Claude Sonnet 4.5, and I am very, very happy with this. Next, yeah, and you see the GPT-5 high, which is a lot of thinking, still not as good. So on the chat, on the text, on the left here, so Gemini is actually on the top spot. So it's actually very good at writing. And then we have Claude, we have GPT Yellow, Claude, GPT, Claude, Qwen, and you see a lot of China models. And also, I want to tell you that on the left, they're all very close. Look at the scores: 1451 top, and all these first 10, they don't differ too much. And yeah, so it's very dense group. So next for me, this is the main announcement for myself, because what happened, I love to use Cline. Cline is an extension for Visual Studio Code. It's a coding assistant. It was originally designed to work with the Claude model, but then it was extended to work with all kind of models. And what happened recently, they also made it as a plugin to JetBrains. And if you think about it, there are kind of two parts of the client application. There is the core, the backend, which does all the thinking and logic. And then there is a front end. It's how it connects to, let's say, Visual Studio Code editor or JetBrains PyCharm editor. So they separated the backend and the front end. And now they also offer a CLI, command line interface front end. So what it means is that I can install it. It's a JavaScript application. So you do npm install, and after that, you can run Cline command. You can do it interactively. You can do it as just one command. So you can give it a prompt. So let's say prompt is in a file. So here, below, you see the examples of the commands. This is node, so I do npm install -g client. G means global. You may need to use sudo npm install to install it. Client auth, where you authorize if necessary into your, let's say you're using Claude, and whatever, depends on the model. You can select the model. So this is authorization. Then client -h, it's a help. Client, for example, here, add unit test to this file, and it will create the unit test file. Or this is example, cat some prompt text and pipe into client -YOLO. YOLO means you look only once, right? So when you run it with this option, it doesn't ask you any questions. It just does it, what you tell it to do. So what you can do now, you can open multiple terminals, or you can run commands like this, multiple commands. You can put them in one script if you want, put them in background, schedule on cron tab. So all kind of automation. So you can set up multi-agent systems using this. Very, very easy to use. Under the hood, it's quite advanced. It's using gRPC, which is Google Remote Procedure Calls, which is using HTTP2, and it's also using protocol buffers. This is invented by Google, and it's a very, very good way to communicate. So yeah, this is a great technology. Next, Anthropic Petri, a parallel exploration tool for risky interactions. So it's an open source MIT framework designed to automate AI safety auditing, using AI agents to test target models and auditor agent, target model, and judge model. So the usual structure. 3 components. Anthropic tested Petri on 14 frontier models using more than 100 seed instructions. And yeah, it worked very well. Claude Sonnet 4.5 and GPT-5 demonstrated the strongest overall safety. Yeah, so this is good. Next, Anthropic finds that only 250 poison documents, which constitute very low percentage of overall training data, is enough to make a hole in defenses of the model. And yeah, this is so training the model is very risky, and people can, let's say, fine-tune the model and crack it open using very small number of documents. So this is interesting. Yeah, this is funny. Andrew Tulloch. This summer, Meta tried to buy Thinking Machines Lab. Just to remind you, Mira Murati used to be CTO of OpenAI, and then she left and created her own company called Thinking Machine Lab. They received $2 billion in funding with, at the point where I had nothing, just several people. And then this summer, Meta tried to buy the company, refused. Then they tried to solicit individual members of the company, also refused. The biggest example was compensation package which was offered to Andrew. So it is rumored to be $1.5 billion paid over 6 years if he stay for 6 years with Meta. Andrew actually was at Meta before. So he was at Meta, then at OpenAI, then Thinking Machines, and now he accepted the offer and he went back to Meta. Although it's not like open information what is the actual compensation he'll be getting, but it's pretty high. Okay, Claude Haiku 4.5. So Anthropic released Claude Sonnet 4.5. And now they released Haiku 4.5. Haiku is the smallest, the fastest, the cheapest model, and it actually on the level of the previous Sonnet. So it works on the level of Sonnet 4 from May of this year, which is a very good, very capable model, but it is much cheaper and much faster. So the pricing is $1 and $5 for in and out per million tokens. Right, and plus they provide caching, which up to 90% more savings. So yeah, this is a great thing. Next, NVIDIA DGX Spark. So NVIDIA announced this, oh gosh, it was a long time ago, maybe beginning of the year, maybe even end of last year. So the idea is that you have a very small box. Here you have a Mac, small Mac Mini, I guess, or Mac Studio on top of this machine. So it's very small, but it has an NVIDIA hardware which has similar architecture to Mac. It has what's called unified memory, and it has 128 gigabyte of this memory. And yeah, so it can run like GPU, using this memory like a GPU memory, and it's good. But now what they did, they finally started to produce it, and they also the same thing is produced by many vendors like Asus, Acer, whatever, several vendors which you know because they produce laptops. So they license this technology, they sell it under different names, and they sell it a little bit cheaper. NVIDIA sells for 4,000, Asus sells for like 3,000. But now you can see people started posting videos where they test, and the results are not very good. So what people saying is, you see, for most users, NVIDIA RTX 5090 or even 3090 offer better value for local AI inference. My personal approach is I don't want to buy specialized hardware like that because I prefer to use the latest and greatest models. I will just pay for them and as I go. So even if I buy several of these models, let's say $100 a month or $1,000 a year, so for 3 years I will pay this $3,000, but I always will have the best and the greatest models. And the models today, as you know, is not just LLM. It's multimodal, it's tool use, it's web search, it's a lot of capability. Okay, this is my shameless plug as usual. We do these weekly videos every Friday. Stats, actually, I didn't check the stats. It's probably better than that. You can subscribe to the channel, download slides from GitHub, or under each video there are links to how to download the slides. If you're watching this, pause the video and answer a pinned question. I usually put some questions, and this is, for me, it's very, very useful to see what people are doing, actually, how they're using AI. Okay, this is an interesting perspective because I talk to people who are using AI, and what I find is that people tend to, let's say AI is this horse. It's a very powerful and fast horse, but people give it very small, they use it like a stupid, dumb assistant. They give it very specific instructions to keep control. And what end up happening is the human is the bottleneck in speed, and also the human may not know the best way to do things and so on. My approach is a little bit different. I want to ride the horse. So I want to not to tell the horse what to do and how exactly to do. I want to tell what needs to be achieved. So instead of do this, you go to achieve this. From how to write the code, what the code must achieve. Again, you don't micromanage. So from generate the text, next few lines of code, you generate an entire integrated, well-tested component. So you start delegating thinking, delegating scaffolding, setting up environment, like everything, and testing and quality review at the end. To give, so you becoming not a programmer by architect of instructions. And I want to give you another comparison. So when I was starting programming and in 1970s, 1980s, and I remember writing code in Pascal and then pieces of code which needs to run very fast critically, I would convert them into assembly language, disassemble, and then I would manually optimize this assembly language, and then I run it. Pascal had this feature where you can run assembly from inside Pascal. But then nowadays, let's say we have Python, it's a high-level language, and it runs 30, 50, 100 times slower than, let's say, C. But I don't see people like disassembling Python and optimizing it. So people don't look at the underlying code. They're okay. And same is with AI. Let's say you ask AI to create the software, and it wrote the software, and it also wrote all the tests, and it did the testing, and you asked it to document, to write the code using certain styles and so on. So the code is good enough. Of course, some people think that they still need to look at the code, to have human to look at the code. But I think this slowly goes away because some companies, like for example, companies who produce AI, OpenAI or like Anthropic, for example, they claim that 80% of their code is written and tested by AI itself. So they spend a lot of time on creating the documentation, instruction on how AI should work. So they create the rules, and then this horse can run very fast and then double check. And actually, the horse can do more testing than humans and can do better tests and so on. So I think this is the direction where things are going. Okay, agent frameworks. Well, I told you about Cline, but there are many other agents. for creating pipelines for like node-based agent workflows. So Microsoft has this Microsoft Agent framework. They also have Power Automate for just doing pipelines, and there are Zapier, Make, LangChain, Node-RED, and 8N, and so many others, right? So when you're creating a multi-agent or some sort of pipeline, so you have a lot of choices. I try to arrange them kind of starting from the most important on the top. Yeah. Next, this conversation about Cline versus multi-agent. Before Cline released their CLI, Cline was simply working in the editor and working with human. So it's kind of human in the loop. And Cline can do work of many different agents. It can do planning, it can write code, it can test code, it can do everything. It cannot do these things in parallel. And it is designed on purpose to work with human, which gives human control. So that's why, and I find that most people are still much more comfortable with this approach, right? So it's a good way to start. If you're only starting, just get Cline. You can get it for Visual Studio Code or for let's say PyCharm or whatever, JetBrains, and yeah, and use it. And then later you can upgrade to use it in CLI and maybe separate functions. But anyway, so this picture like Cline versus multi-agent frameworks. Next, Ollama and Qwen visual model. So I love Qwen model. So this is coming from China, and they have Ollama now has its own cloud. So Ollama is known for running model locally, but now they have their own cloud. So if you have the same model in small size, you can run it locally. But if it's big size, it's probably much easier for you, and it will run faster if you run it in the cloud. And they have low prices. Okay, use cases: visual recognition, understanding, multilingual OCR, and so on. Yeah, this is great. And you can read, you see, ollama.com and about this model. Next, NanoChat. Well, Andrej Karpathy, of course, legend, and he has educational courses, materials, videos, everything. He had Nano GPT, and now he came up with NanoChat. So what it is, it's a very small system. You see approximately 8,000 lines of code. And this is complete end-to-end ChatGPT pipeline. And what's happening here, you train the model and you have application. Everything is here. So you see, unlike Karpathy's earlier NanoGPT project, which focused solely on pre-training, NanoGPT covers the entire stack from tokenizer training, functional web, a UI interface, enables developers to do this. You can train this whole thing, train the model from start on 8 H100 GPUs for about $100 in approximately 4 hours. So yeah, this is good. This is very elegant, and it's great for education, of course. Okay, next, brain of foundation agents. So here we have a map of the brain, and different functionality is like human brain. And now large language models are trying to reproduce similar functionality, right? So green means that it's well reproduced already. You see L1, L2 moderately, and red is rarely. So not. So for example, this is called occipital lobe, whatever. So these pieces are not well developed. So what the authors of this article claim is that eventually we will have like green. So we will have models being able to do all different functionality which human brain does. Yeah, very interesting. Next, this is fun. So we have Jon Stewart, who's a television personality, right? Used to be Daily Show and so on. And he interviewed Geoffrey Hinton. And Geoffrey Hinton, you know, Nobel Prize winner and godfather of AI, everything. It's very interesting conversation. So John was asking, well, what do you think about me? I said, well, you're this kid who knows nothing but asks very good questions. So this is generic, but very funny and very interesting. I highly recommend to listen to this. It's on YouTube. And there are several moments which I want to stress. One is Geoffrey Hinton explained how models learn automatically from examples, from data. So no hand-coded rules needed. This is crucial. And then his phrase, we're approaching time when we're going to make things smarter than us. And really, nobody has any idea what's going to happen. Yeah, and next, well, about Nobel Prizes. The last Nobel Prize was given this Monday in Economic Scientists. And another interesting statistics. So, University of California win 5 Nobel Prizes in 3 days. So, talking about scientific prizes. So, this is a new world record for universities of California. It's not one university; it's different ones, but they're all in California. Okay, next. Yes, this is very interesting work. So imagine cesium atoms, right? And in this work, they had like more than 6,000 of those atoms, and they were manipulated with laser beams. So laser beams can excite atoms. You see, atoms have electrons, so they have different levels of energy, and you can excite them a little bit, and they can also move them a little bit. And they were able to control and have those well, they call them qubits, but basically there are atoms which serve as qubits, which could be in 2 states, 0, 1. And they stabilize it and they hold it stable for more than 12 seconds, which is a new record. And what's interesting that this setup doesn't require as much hardware as other setups. So yeah, this is very interesting, elegant work. So the researchers maintain the atoms in a state of superposition where each qubit exists in multiple states simultaneously for up to 12.6 seconds, significantly improving from previous durations. Okay, next, about AI data centers. Well, you know, like hundreds of billions or rather maybe trillions of dollars are poured into building data centers. They consume lots of electricity, they consume lots of water, and you see these are the biggest, so Amazon, of course, largest farms, then Microsoft, because, you know, Microsoft Office and so on. Then we have Google, and then Meta, CoreWeave, and Oracle. Okay, next. Yes, this is very interesting work. This is actually coming from Copenhagen, so it's Europe. And what they develop small portable reactors. One reactor can provide 40 megawatts and can support 20,000 GPUs. And it's the size of a 40 feet shipping container. So it's not a big thing. And maybe so now they work. The problem is to get them approved. So it's more like bureaucratic. Hopefully, when this will be resolved, and they will be used everywhere. And this is a very interesting documentary describing like a walkthrough through the facility, and you see these devices and how they work. Apple new M5 chip. So they will go on sale on October 22nd next week, but you already can pre-order them. So you're talking about, well, M5 MacBook Pro and iPad and M5 Vision Pro. And they're faster, especially for GPU performance. You see, 4 times the AI GPU compute versus M4 chip, and many other parameters improve performance. So this is great. Microsoft, you see, Microsoft AI models. There was a LLM. Now it is image model. MAI image 1, text to image, right? Rivals top models integrated into Copilot and Bing Image Creator, photorealistic output, and so it's a good model. Okay, so you see what's happening. Microsoft now tries to not rely on OpenAI's model and create their own models. And group link 1T LLM. So 1T means 1 terabyte, 1 trillion parameters. So this is, as usual, mixture of expert architecture, 50 billion parameters active at a time, open source, reasoning, good for code generation, 128,000 context length, 1,000 tokens. So achieving good, strong benchmark scores. Another thing, Google Nano Banana now is in Google search. So when you see images in Google and you can search, it actually uses Nano Banana under the hood. Google speech to retrieval. The idea here is that usually what people do, they convert speech into text and then search through text. But alternative approach, which is realized here by Google, is you convert speech into embeddings and then you search through those embeddings. So you have text, from text you create embeddings, and from speech you create embeddings, and then it's basically vector search. Very interesting. So you go direct without intermediate creating of text. Next, Google NotebookLM. I spoke about it a long time ago. I decided to just remind people it's such a great tool. So what it allows you to do, you can organize your documents, you can convert them into different formats. So for example, what I was doing, I was converting PDF into a short overview as MP3 file. Or nowadays you can also do presentations, you can do videos, you can do flashcards, you can prepare reports, like you see, tailor reports, outlines, multimedia content, and so on. This is amazing tool, and it also allows collaboration. It also integrates very well with Google Workspace, and now they also integrated Nano Banana image editing into NotebookLM. So you can create things in different visual styles and different video formats. So very powerful tool. Next, robotics. A lot of happening in robotics. So here some list of different kinds of robots. Some of them are humanoid, some of them are dog-like, some are nothing like like an animal, and a lot of partnerships, a lot of already they're being produced already. So and millions of them. Okay, China of course doing a lot of progress. Next, OpenAI and Broadcom, custom AI chips. This is huge. So this is a multi-year partnership. Value of the deal somewhere between 2 billion and 9 billion, so it's over the years. The idea is that OpenAI is designing their own chips. So they don't want to rely on Microsoft or on NVIDIA. They want to create their own chips. They're designing their own chips, and Broadcom will be manufacturing those chips and then creating the GPUs and deploying them in data centers. So you see that OpenAI is trying to get from under Microsoft, from under NVIDIA, and become kind of independent. And this is really big. Current OpenAI valuation is already $500 billion. And current valuation of Microsoft is probably like 3.5 or something like that $1 trillion. So OpenAI grew from nothing to approximately 1/7 size of Microsoft. It continues to grow very fast. So maybe in a few years, OpenAI will become bigger than Microsoft. and they will become independent from Microsoft, from NVIDIA. It's very interesting. Okay, there was a huge conference in San Francisco, and this is a Salesforce conference, which is called Dreamforce. So first of all, how many attendees? 50,000 in person. I didn't even know that it's possible, but apparently in San Francisco there is a huge center venue where they can accommodate up to 100,000. So there was 50,000 in-person attendees and millions virtual, right? And they were talking about, of course, Salesforce, CRM, and it's all about AI. What Salesforce recently have done, out of 9,000 their own customer service representatives and sales representatives, out of 9,000, they fired 4,000. So it's almost half. Why? Because now they have these automatic AI agents which can work on the phone or chat and so on with customers. And now they're selling those agents to their customers. And everybody, like all 5,000, all Fortune 500, whatever, everybody is using Salesforce, right? So if you're thinking about OpenAI, ChatGPT, or whatever, these are generic models. What's coming from Salesforce, they're very specific for customer service and for sales agents, right? And they have it, they tested it, it's working well, and now they'll be putting it everywhere. So they're saying that their agents cost about 17 times less to have the agent than to have an employee, right? 17 times. So that means that all companies, all big companies, will start this process now to substituting their human agents to the AI agents. So many people, customer service and so on, will lose their jobs. This is the main thing. On the conference, there was conversation with Mark Benioff, who is the CEO of Salesforce, and Sundar Pichai, Andrew Ng. Like there were a lot of high-level people. A huge conference. So next is updates about the jobs. Not many updates. It's basically the same as last week. This is me, as usual, and thank you.